Hello again. It is Cyber Awareness Month this October, and there are a number of attacks doing the rounds that are targeting South African businesses. According to the State of Ransomware in South Africa 2023 report, 78% of South Africa's organizations were hit by cyber attacks just last year. Now, this can be attributed to increased blackouts and the new work-from-home models adopted after the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, let's discuss this now and find how serious the problem is with Carlo Bolzonello, the country lead for Trellix SA. Carlo, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you very much for your time. Can you tell us first, what are the most prominent cyber attacks that are targeting South African businesses? What kind of attacks are they suffering?
Hi, Dan. Hi, viewers. I think there's a few things, Dan. So firstly, I think everybody's very aware of ransomware. That seems to be, the one on everybody's mind. But we've seen an upsurge or an uptake in state-sponsored type of attacks against the government in South Africa, and also certain industries as well within the South African space.
So government is a target and certain industries. Is it government across the board or particular departments? And when it comes to businesses, which sectors are suffering?
So from the report we put together, government as a whole is at risk. And interestingly enough, this year was the first year that we've seen, when we look at the rankings and we look at the information, government's generally in the top three sort of verticals that we see that are attacked. For the first time this year, government has taken #1 place and held that right up until today in the South African space. So that's very unusual for us. It's new, but it is obviously a sign of things that are unfolding. I think this year, 26% of the attacks that we can see were targeted at government themselves. The other sort of industries that we saw that was, if you want to call it in a ranking base, second is service providers. These are the organizations that provide managed services, infrastructure, like your fiber, the hosting for your services in the cloud or in their data centers. So they came in as the second sort of in that ranking system for us. And they were sitting at about 16% of attacks that we've seen this year is attributed to that vertical.
Why, Carlo? Why do you think government is being targeted, for example?
There's a multitude of reasons. I think, some of it has to maybe do with, people are trying to see what they can leverage from government in terms of these attackers. Looking at, there's a lot of rich IP in South Africa. So South Africa, if you look at us on the global front in the African context, South Africa is still seen as, the country to be in terms of infrastructure and what we're doing and what we have. So, that's a really rich target for hackers or malicious operators to come after.
Yeah, and Carlo, where are these hackers and these bad guys based? Are they based elsewhere in the country? Are they in South Africa, those who are targeting our government, for example?
So a majority is external, but you can never rule out internal as well, right? But a majority is definitely external threat actors that we could see, but there is local presence as well.
Yeah. So what do you do, to mitigate and protect yourself? How do you become cyber secure? Government deals with a lot of data. Yours and my private information, for example, will be there under Home Affairs. Just one example in terms of the ID, in terms of the passport, and of course, many others like the beneficiaries of SANSA grants. Their details are on government portals and so on. How do you mitigate? How do you protect yourself?
So I think that the key here, and you've hit the nail on the head, is we've got legislation. I don't believe we need more legislation. We now need the legislation to be enforced, and we need government and industry as well to take security a lot more serious. And that means investing, unfortunately, in tools and in skills to actually run these tools. And skills is a major thing that government, I think, could get behind, to build up the workforce, because we've globally, if I look at the statistics for how many vacancies we have in the space for security, it's reaching about 4 million vacancies at the moment globally. So there's a lot of, we need the skills as well, in this country, but part of it is investing in tools and skills. That's definitely the way to go, Dan.
Okay, thank you very much, Carlo, for your time and insights this afternoon on Today. Carlo Bolzonello, country lead for Trellix SA, weighing in, of course, on cybersecurity matters. Our government is topping the list of targets by hackers and those who are going into the cyber world to try and get information and disrupt operations.